One of the biggest mistakes I make when I try to do these series where I build Zelda-like dungeons like what we're gonna do in this series is I always wait way too long to get started on building the actual dungeons. Well, good news guys, we're doing it right now. I'm super excited about this. We're gonna hit the button, we gotta flip around, and we're gonna grab our dragon. We're gonna grab Fulgurite because Fulgurite can fly, and we're gonna begin the search already for where we're gonna build this temple. Oh my goodness, it's nighttime. There we go. Temple, dungeon, whatever. You know what I mean. We're gonna build. I have blueprints. I showed you guys a few episodes ago with the webcam, kind of what I had, and we're gonna do it. It's happening. We need to pull up the map, right? We got this map, and then we hit M, and we just need to pick a spot. Oh, we're being attacked. We can't be harmed by this guy, but we are being attacked. Yeah, can't be harmed by you. There we go. Just get away from their annoying butt. Something we want to keep in mind is spawn. So we have world spawn right in here. Hopefully you can see my mouse as well. Hopefully that's being captured. I don't want to be so close that I'm impeding on anything going on around here, but I also simultaneously don't want to be so far away that players are never going to go out there. Because we can set up portals and stuff, but the good portals, the waystones, you have to actually go to them and click them to have them. So the player would have to walk there regardless. We want to avoid that. So we need to find a good spot, and we're going to start building right now. And I think this right here actually looks like a really good spot. You can see where we are in relation to all this. This forest seems really nice. And if we zoom out, we can see right here is spawn. You can tell by the sides of it, we're not that far away. So like if we put our cursor on the portal itself, -20, -100, somewhere roughly right there, -20, -100, and we are standing on -600, +70. So it's not that far out, honestly. It's like a 3 to 5 minute walk on foot if you're taking your time. It's actually pretty quick. But I'm thinking we're gonna do a little something on the surface here. We might end up doing a bridge across the river as like the starting point, and then we're gonna quickly go underground, have some sort of entrance. And the majority of this place is going to be underground. So I'm going to need to clear out a few of these trees up here and possibly do a little bit of terraforming. I want to see how much of it we can avoid because, like I said, most of our project's going to be underground. It's going to be buried in a dungeon. So that should, make a lot of this fairly simple as far as like terraforming and stuff go. But, having a bridge here I think will be really nice. Like a true start here spot. So let me get some work done. We're gonna clear some stuff out, and then when we get to the actual dungeon stuff, the puzzle bits, all that fun, the good stuff, then I'll bring you guys back in and we'll go over it a little bit because it's gonna be super cool. I'm very excited to get into this. Now it'd be super easy to just kind of skip through stuff, but it's also equally easy just to kind of quickly run down through some basic stuff like how we flattened this whole area just so I could plant some trees. Yeah, that's the thing. So we're gonna have to come back and fix this area. I really wasn't thinking about that, but it's useful. We have the shape of a bridge. Not that I don't have a bridge yet, but I just wanted to get to the point, mostly to where we could start working on the actual dungeon itself. And I think we're getting there. We have a pathway. We got some foliage, some trees on either side, so it's kind of meant to just kind of funnel a player through. I wanted to kind of go for an ancient structure kind of vibe, so you're coming down. I want it to feel old, so this is kind of what I got so far. And we got little ruins set up, and we're gonna be in this little grotto area, and this little rectangular thing here. It's gonna be some kind of ancient building, but the big most important part is this right here. This is where we're going to effectively have some stairs, and these stairs are going to go down into the dungeon itself. So the dungeon entrance will be right here. Now I'm thinking we could use the create mod and we can make us a door. This guy, a gantry carriage. I believe this is the right one. And if we push this button, oh nope, we're still in the type mode, hold on. If we push W, it will show us this. Now what's cool about this is effectively this thing it can go back and forth, and we can attach stuff to it, as you can see from this little demonstration that the create mod shows us. Which means when this thing is powered, we can make a sliding door. And how do I exit out of this? Like that. So we can make a sliding door and we could stick it in right behind this wall, right? So maybe there's something in here, some kind of puzzle, some switches you have to hit in the correct order, something like that. So there's like a mini puzzle before you can get into the dungeon. And of course, once you solve the mini puzzle, the door will slide open, granting you access into the dungeon. I think that'd be super cool, but I kind of want to work on the dungeon first and do the rest of this outside stuff later. We kind of have sort of the foundation of all the outside stuff done, so let's do it. Let's get into the grindy work, because it's going to be a lot of like beacon and mining and just clearing out a ton of space. All right, I want to see if I can do this real quick. So there's a thing you can do in Create called an elevator, and it is exactly like what you think it is. So I've cleared out this space here, and so the idea is when you solve the puzzle outside, this door will slide open, and then you'll be able to walk in and then push a button for the elevator, and the elevator will take you down. And then when you're done being down there, you can push another button and it'll bring you back up. So that's what I want to get set up, right? So we need to set up a couple of things here, and it's gonna be a little tricky. We're gonna have to get into my create bag. It's not too bad. It's just one of those things that's like, if you haven't built it before, it's kind of confusing what you're supposed to be doing, but I think we got this. So I want to set up a sort of perimeter around here and wrap this in like this, because I'm trying to make sure we build this in such a way where we can access this elevator, but we're still going to leave enough space for this door, which I don't think this door needs a ton of space, honestly. I think it's going to be right in this line, which means we can actually come out to here, because this door is going to slide out of the way, and I think all the components for that can be squished either in this back corner or that back corner. Probably this back corner, because we have to do stuff on this side. So the first thing I think I want to do is just pop all the way down here, and we're going to start setting up these linear chassis. So they're going to go in like this, and we're going to set them all up in a 5x5 pattern. We're going to skip this block so we can do this guy like that. And then we're going to slap this with some super glue. And then that means when we stick this guy in right here, that is now super glued to this guy. Now, something else we need to do is grab our wrench and make sure that this guy is set to 5. We do that just by scrolling. So once it's, there we go, it's on 5. Basically, this thing, whatever number it's on, that's how many blocks it's going to look in that direction to grab. So we just want to do the 5, and hopefully this will all work out. It's showing the line just going straight in front of it, but hopefully this will grab all of them. I think it will. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it should not grab any blocks beyond that, and that's super important. So now we're going to, since we're down here, this way is towards the beacon, which means I want my dungeon to go this way, just so I know where we're going, right? So when we come off the elevator, we know we're going to go this way. So that's going to be the doorway, which means, let's say on this side. Let's do it on this side. We're going to break out a couple of blocks, and I'm thinking what we're going to do, I think this will work. We'll have to double check it. So we're going to stick this guy in right here, and we're going to do, we can set frequencies. So frequency 1 will be stone, frequency 2 will be stone. And that means any of these redstone links that are set to stone and stone will be connected. So I'm going to test this here. I think we can power it this way. So if I push this button, we should see this power on. Yes, the light came on. Perfect. So we're going to seal this up. So now we have our power, which is going to tell the elevator to go up. Obviously, it doesn't work just yet. So we're going to come to the top, and up here we want to make a little space just like this. We're going to grab our rope pulley, and we want to make sure, yes, it's just like this. Okay, so we don't need this. We'll take this off the side just for spatial reasons. Basically, we want to make sure that this thing is directly above that guy down there. Has to be exactly above it, and you'll see why in a few moments, but we're going to grab now a shaft and a water wheel, and should have brought some glass, so we'll have to use some temporary blocks. I like using glass because you can see what you're doing, but this is fine. It'll be okay. So we're gonna plug that guy in right there, and then we are going to grab this guy, and we're gonna want him in right there, like that. So let's dig out the blocks around him. Scratch that. I missed a part. I missed one part. We need to move this water wheel back a block because we need this gear shift. This gear shift needs to go right there. There we go. And then this comes out, and then it's the water wheel. And then it's the same procedure. We're just going to do the exact same thing. We want to just seal this guy in, but we need this. The gear shift is critical for making this thing work the way we want it to work. So let's get this guy sealed up and running with the water. So we need to have a block right here. Basically, I'm looking at the fins, and whichever direction it looks like the fin is pointing in, that's the side you want to have a block in the middle, because we want to have a water source above it, and the water will flow pushing the fins. That's our goal here, is to have this thing spinning in the correct direction, so we produce enough power for this thing to actually spin and do stuff. So if we grab our bucket of water, and I'll just use my infinity bucket here, you'll notice we were now spinning, this guy is spinning, and this guy is activating. So we're going to be able to toggle this, so this won't be just, you know, running all the time. But once this thing goes all the way down and touches there, it will connect, and this will be a single unit. But we're still going to need to be able to turn it on and off. And this should be pretty straightforward. Basically, we're going to take a power toggle latch. We're going to face it into this. This is basically just I think it's called an RS NOR latch, or a T flip flop with the T. Yeah, something like that. And then basically we're going to do the same thing here, right? We're going to go set the frequency. In this case, it's stone. So the frequency is any combination of 2 items in the game, which is amazing. So you can have a lot. But we're going to shift and right click this, so this changes. This is now a receiver, so this will receive information. And then I want to additionally, let's do it on this side, because again, I don't think this is really going to be in the way. We're going to set up a space right here for this button, and we're going to plop our button down, and another one of these guys. So we're going to get our button like this. We're going to throw this guy down here. We're going to set the frequency, and that should have us all set. As long as that's connected, that should be all set. So if we push this button, that activates. You see it's moving, that's spinning, and the elevator is coming up. If we push this button again, the elevator will go down, and same thing for at the bottom. So I'll let this get to the top, and then we can show it off, you know, working on both sides. Here we are, we've reached the top, so we can walk onto it, and pushing the button should take us down. Perfect, beautiful. So now we're gonna go all the way to the bottom, and same thing, we're just gonna cut straight ahead to me being at the bottom, and we're gonna push the button and make sure it takes us back up. And here we are, we have reached the bottom, so we'd be on the floor in the dungeon now. And now we wanna leave, so we push the button, and just like that. Beautiful, absolutely perfect. Now it's taking us to the top, exactly what we wanted. I believe if you use the super glue, you can say like glue the corners if you wanted, right? And then you could build like a top little section so you could have a roof. So there's not this gaping hole, which we might end up doing, but I'm not super concerned about that right now. I just want to make sure we have a way up and down so we can work on the dungeon, which I'm going to do right now, or at least carve it out. Alright, so in an effort to get this video out, because I'm going to be out of town for a few days, close to a week, you know, I'm trying to do my best to get through this. So I've spent the last day and a half just carving. So what you're gonna see here is just kind of temporary. It's mainly just a shape. So like these beams, these arches, like these can come out. I want this place to feel ruinous when you are in here. So a lot of this is gonna actually be changed, but the shape itself should be pretty close to what we're looking for here. So we got our main room in the dungeon. So you come through, and my thoughts are that there's probably going to be some like jumping obstacles to get around, and then the bottom here might even be flooded. I kind of think it'd be kind of cool if this was actually just all filled with water down here, and then that way if you fall off, you don't take fall damage. Speaking of things that we're going to make sure players have, it will be a rule about the trinkets. There will be some information about these trinkets. I think the Creepo trinket will be required all the time, and all of the other trinkets will need to be disabled to run my dungeons, which means that when running through dungeons, one of the rewards could be, assuming players have it of course, so it'll be made clear before a player starts the dungeon. But in theory, a player could come through and they could be like, oh, I open up a chest, and inside the chest is a piece of paper that says, you can now turn on Dark Egg, for example, right? Whatever one we want to use. So one of these things, you know, it's going to give us an ability like the spider, for example. That's the one that gives you the ability to climb. So the trinkets themselves can act as a sort of treasure, like a secret treasure that can help you solve puzzles, but won't be allowed to be used unless the dungeon makes it available for you. So yeah, I think that's gonna be pretty cool. I've been carving out rooms, so we got, you know, all of these guys, and then this one's gonna come back through here. And what's interesting about this one, we're gonna use portals. So this is actually gonna be a portal, and the reason I have this little carved out right here is to let me know that this is where the portal is gonna go, is in this one, right? So you're gonna walk through here, and that one's actually gonna take you way out that way. So we're gonna run down this hallway real quick, and I'm just gonna edit it out, but we're gonna run down the hallway to where we're supposed to be, and it's gonna come out right here. So this room, obviously, you see it's just a general shape. I'm not even sure about these pillars. Really, the pillars is just a way for me to like count out space to make sure things are feeling uniform. But we're gonna have a room here, and I'm intending for this room in particular, to have a puzzle based on images you find throughout the rest of the dungeon. So I'm thinking about using the camera mod, which is this guy right here. So if I open up the album, right, and then I have images, pictures I've taken with the camera, right? So I'm thinking about using this, and you can actually upload an image that you've made on your computer and bring it into the game. So I'm thinking about making some kind of like hieroglyphics of sorts, of like, I don't know, maybe like redstone torches in different orientations. And then this room will have the actual, whatever it is that's depicted on the pictures. They'll actually be in here for you to play with. And so the idea is, you know, in the main chamber, that's the first room you visited. So perhaps the first one correlates to that chamber, and that one has it in orientation 7. So you change this to 7. The second room you visited has another one with an orientation this way. So it's just a big puzzle that you have to find throughout the rest of the dungeon and kind of remember. And then that will unlock this right here. So I have these little pillars thing. This is going to be a sliding door, so another gantry door. This will slide out of the way when that is complete, and that'll bring us into this room. And this room's going to have a final like switch, and the switch is going to be one of 2 switches that needs to be activated to open the main door to like the final room. So this is one switch done. When you turn around, instead of going back through this room, this right here will just be a return portal. So when you pass through here, it'll be a return portal, and it'll take us back to where we started, which will be right here. So this right here will be the return portal. So when you come out that one, you'll be walking out this way, but this won't have a portal. Both sides will be portalless. So it'll be a one-way trip return. So you'll come back out down here, which I think would be pretty cool. There's several other rooms. I don't want to, like, we could take a quick look at them, but I'm not going to explain what they're for. That way there's more interesting, cool things for the other members to, you know, get through and see, and then you can watch their videos to see how it's done. But we have several other rooms that go places and that are going to be filled with challenges and puzzles. I think this is going to be really cool. And I have found a way to make rooms rotate, not on a horizontal way, but a vertical way. I think that's the way I mean to say that. So if we come down here, we have this room. So this room is kind of a bridge. It goes across over there, and then of course there could be stuff down there. But of course if you jump down there, there'll be no way back up, so it's pretty dangerous. So we're gonna try to make it clear. I'm thinking about having a bunch of lava down there, so players are like, oh, well, don't jump down there, obviously, it's filled with lava. But I figured out a way to rotate these rooms so I can spin this clockwise or counterclockwise. And what that'll mean is when a player comes back to this room, all of a sudden this bridge won't be flat right here. It'll be these 3 blocks here, and it'll be going that way, and there won't be a platform to walk on anymore. And that also means if the floor was lava, then that right there is now the floor, and all that lava will be pouring down and running out that way, which means you could kind of jump off to this side over here and work your way around. And then my favorite part, when it goes upside down, that means the lava will be up there, and the bottom of the bridge will actually be above you. So you'll be walking on the ceiling with this bridge above you, and the lava will be pouring down. So you'll be like encased in curtains of lava protected by the bridge. It's pretty cool. I'm very excited that we figured out a way to rotate rooms. This is gonna be this will be the most confusing challenge, and that's kind of its purpose, is to be a confusing room that you have to make like a mental map of to solve. I'm very excited about it. I'm gonna take you guys one more place and show off this little thing, this extendo grip, which is super cool because I think it's kind of neat. I want to show you guys just it real fast, and then I want to build the one gantry door, and we'll be done with this episode. I'm trying to wrap it up before I leave again, so we can, so you guys will have extra stuff. So here we go. And just because I thought it was cool, I really wanted to show off the auto crafter thingy that we have here. So if we turn on our little toggle thing, mechanical crafter. So we're in our create room at our base. So we got a bunch of little things set up so we can just have passive power if we need it for little random machines. And here we have this little contraption set up where we have a water wheel go into this little, go into this, the rotation speed controller. And yesterday I set it to 4 and it was working just fine. Today, 4 is broken and I have to reduce it down to 2. And now it seems to be working at 2 instead of 4. And I've seen videos where it works at 8. So I don't know why. Mine's randomly breaks sometimes, but here we go. We got this thing going. It's turning all of the gears inside each of these things. And now, basically, if we grab, I believe you have to do it with the wrench, right? So if I try to right click with my hand and nothing happens, right? So each of these things has a little direction on it. And so if I right click, you can see that its direction is moving. That's telling you where this thing's crafting is gonna go. So when you put things into this, so you'll do like a pattern, and sometimes it's random. What it'll do is anything in that square, they will move to that square. And then same thing with everything on these sides, they'll all move towards the center. And once everything's in the center, then the top will start moving down and combining, and then they'll combine again, and it'll keep going. Once it reaches here, it'll come out. It's really cool. And if we look at one of these things, the extendo grip, for example, you can see this requires 9 slots, but they have to be in this order. And so what's really weird about this is you can't just put the 6 sticks in, the hand at the bottom, the cogwheel and the brass ingot at the top, and then have it combined. For some reason, it will not let you do it. You have to literally take this thing and turn it into that exact same shaped crafting thing. So if I wanted that to work, I would have to rotate all of these guys to be pointing down, and then everything that I don't want attached, I'd have to rotate them to point away from it. That way, this is isolated. It's very strange, but we have this set up, and this is how we got the extendo grip, and I'm sure you might be wondering exactly what this is. But if I put this in my offhand, right? So now it's in my offhand, which you can tell from the hotbar down below, it still appears to be in my main hand. We have extended reach. You can see the little black bar where we hear the little outline for blocks. So we can reach that block right there, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-ish blocks away. And if I take this thing out of my hand and we do something else, we can reach as far as that block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can get 5 blocks away with this, 8 blocks away with this guy, and it's really cool. And it applies to anything that's in your main hand. So our shovel can now reach 8 blocks away. Our pickaxe can reach 8 blocks away. But most fun of all, our sword can reach 8 blocks away. So we can actually fight things at a huge distance. This is going to give us such an advantage in combat against the other players. I'm so excited for it because they're going to see us like this. They're going to see the extendo grip in one hand and their sword in the other, and they're going to think they're fine. But really, we're gonna smash them in the face. Just pow, right in the kisser. It's pretty cool. They won't see it coming. If you hear the dog barking in the background, don't worry. He's just having a panic attack because we're leaving tomorrow. So I'm over here and I'm working on our gantry door, and I just have it, it's very simply set up. I'm just using a water wheel, which is, man, you could use windmills, but water wheels, these things are just so easy, especially when they're just awesome. Right, so we have this thing set up. We have the gantry shaft, the gantry itself, and I have a single block on top of it, and we're using a gearbox to change the direction. So if I power this, or unpower this rather, you'll see that the door will be sliding open. So the thing that I want to work out now is first we're going to put this into this closed position, and we are going to attempt to use super glue and glue this door together, because normally it wants you to use blocks like the linear chassis things that will just stick together by themselves. But if I do this, for example, and cover these guys in some glue, I should be able to just stick these on, right? And then when I hit the switch, they should also move with it. So now, just like that, we have a bunch of stuff moving. So with this figured out, we can actually do a lot with the super glue. We can glue walls together, we can glue doors, we can glue slabs, anything. So let's throw this guy back into its position, and I'm gonna glue something together. So you'll notice that there's this little gap, and there's a little gap here. We could have avoided it, but I chose to do it this way on purpose so I could show you guys. But I want to do this number, so we have to go under, right, and apply some glue and get this block in to make sure that that's glued in. Now we can seal this one back up. But basically what I want to do now is we just put some glue down, we place the block in if it lets me, there we go, and then we're just going to bring this across. This will make it so that when we open the door, there will still be this floor coming through. So it'll feel like, I mean, you'll see this moving, but it will feel like, right, so you open the door's opening, and right, you can see it moving, but ultimately we are flawlessly in place. Beautiful. And what I'm thinking we're gonna do, we'll probably glue this one like this, get this guy in, and then start slapping this down. That way we have a full wall on this side, so it's perfectly sealed up. And then of course this wall's gonna actually come out to this point, so that should be all clear. So let me actually put it together, and then we'll take a look at it. And this is where I want to wrap the episode up at. So we're going to demonstrate this real quick. So we got walls in here, and on this side there we got stairs and slabs, like, and what's cool is if you put the super glue in your hand, you can see where all the super glues are. So, and they don't break out, you have to physically break the super glue. So I could remove this wall and have the super glue still remain in place, which I think is really cool. But if we come over here, so again, the idea is that somebody would figure out the puzzle out here, and it would relay a signal to this instead of a levers, right? But effectively they would power it or unpower it in this case, and the door would slide open and it would secure itself in this position. Now, of course, we also want to go through and, you know, we want to make sure that this is sealed up. So we're going to end up doing the same thing for this guy. And we can do this, this, and we'll get these blocks. And this is basically just sealing up the edges, right? Because we don't want, you know, the player to get confused and come into these back rooms when really that's not the point. They're not meant to come in, you know, in the behind the scenes areas. They're really just supposed to be hanging out here. That one's too far back. I don't know why I did that one. We'll remove that. There we go. As of this moment, I am not aware of a block limit for the gantry carriage, and I'm also equally not aware of a reach limit for the rope pulley, or even a block limit for that as well. So these two things are pretty sweet because they, you know, they just give us so much mobility, flexibility within these designs. Like, look how cool this is. I just love this. I love this so much. It's so cool. We literally have sliding doors. This is the same kind of sliding door that will be down in the dungeon in those areas that I was talking about, where the door slides out of the way. This is it. This is the door literally sliding out of the way. Now, I did mention that there was a way to make it so we didn't have to, you know, make this floor here or whatever. We could have set this up in such a way where the gantry itself, right, so like, say the gantry was, you know, here, we could have glued the blocks above it and then glued blocks reaching out, and then in that way, this shaft could have been moved over because we would be reaching blocks out to touch the door to pull the door out of the way. So you can really manipulate this and move this out of the way and whatnot, and it's so fantastic. I'm so happy with this. But we are running long. This is one of the longer episodes because, you know, it is what it is. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.